Welcome to the first chapter of our journey into the quiet corners of the past. I am the boring, endless historian, and tonight, we are leaving the noise of the modern world behind. We are traveling back to the late 19th century, to a place where time seems to stretch and breathe with the rhythm of the Atlantic Ocean. Imagine, if you will, the year 1895. You are standing on the edge of Newport, Rhode Island. The sun is beginning to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and soft, dusty gold. The air is cool, carrying the scent of salt spray and blooming hydrangeas. Before you stands a set of gates. They are made of heavy wrought iron, forged by hand, cold to the touch. These are the gates to the Breakers, the summer cottage of the Vanderbilt family. But to call it a cottage is a gentle irony. It is a palace of stone and memory, a monument to an era that knew no limits. As we move through these gates, listen to the sound of the gravel beneath your feet. It is a slow, rhythmic crunch. 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 There is no hurry here. The driveway is long, lined with ancient elm trees whose leaves whisper secrets to one another in the evening breeze. The shadows of the branches stretch across the path like long, dark fingers, guiding you toward the great house. The architecture is inspired by the Italian Renaissance, a style of symmetry and balance. As you look up at the limestone walls, notice how they have absorbed the warmth of the day. The stone is pale, almost glowing in the twilight. There are hundreds of windows, each one reflecting the fading light of the sea. Behind those windows, the curtains are heavy silk, unmoving, holding in the stillness of 100 years. We are not here to rush through the halls. We are here to notice the small things. The way the dew begins to settle on the marble statues in the garden. The way the distant sound of the waves crashing against the cliffs creates a constant, low-frequency hum, a heartbeat for the house. In this world, the clocks tick slower. The pendulums swing with a heavy, brass weight, marking seconds that feel like minutes. There is a sense of immense weight and immense peace. Before we step inside these massive oak doors and lose ourselves in the 20 parts of this journey, I invite you to settle in. If you find peace in these forgotten stories, consider becoming a permanent resident of our silent halls by subscribing to the Boring Endless Historian. Your presence here helps these stories live on. Stay with me until the very end of this long journey, as we slowly peel back the layers of time, room by room, secret by secret. Let the world outside fade away, as we prepare to enter the Grand Hall. The massive double doors of oak and bronze move slowly, swinging inward with a low, heavy groan that echoes through the silence. As you step across the threshold, the air changes. It is cooler here, stiller, carrying the weight of a century. You are now standing in the Great Hall. Look up. The ceiling is 45 feet above you, a vast expanse of carved stone and gold leaf that seems to disappear into the shadows. The light here is soft, filtered through high arched windows, casting long rectangular glows across the floor. This floor is made of rare Italian marble, checkered in white and deep charcoal gray. Pause for a moment. Listen to the silence of this room. It isn't an empty silence. It is a heavy, textured silence. It is the sound of velvet curtains absorbing the air. It is the sound of the house breathing. Take a deep breath. You can smell the faint, lingering scent of beeswax and linseed oil, used for decades to polish the dark wood. There is a hint of dried lavender from the large porcelain vases, and the earthy, cold scent of ancient stone. To your left and right, massive tapestries hang from the walls. They are hundreds of years old, woven by hand in distant lands. If you look closely at the threads, you can see scenes of silent forests and forgotten kingdoms, frozen in time. The colors, deep blues, muted greens, and faded golds, seem to shift as the shadows move. In the center of the hall stands a grand staircase. The banisters are made of cold, polished marble, topped with intricate wrought iron that looks like frozen vines. Imagine your hand resting on that cold stone as you look toward the upper balconies. There is no one here but you and the memories of those who once walked these floors in silk gowns and heavy wool coats. The world outside, the cars, the screens, the noise, it all feels like a dream now. Here, in the heart of the Great Hall, the only thing that matters is the rhythm of your own breath and the steady, slow pulse of history. As we prepare to move deeper into the house, notice how the light begins to dim even further. The corners of the room are turning to velvet blackness. We are moving away from the light of the day and into the soft embrace of the evening. Stay with me. We have many more rooms to visit, and each one has a story that wants to be whispered, slowly, endlessly. Leaving the Great Hall, we drift slowly toward the West Wing. Our footsteps are lost in the thick, hand-woven carpets that line the hallway. We arrive at the entrance of the state dining room, a place of immense weight and golden silence. As you step inside, the first thing you feel is the scale of the room. It is massive, 2 stories high, designed to make one feel small and still. The walls are not painted. They are covered in massive slabs of golden Numidian marble. Even in the dim light, the marble has a deep, honey-like glow, reflecting the flickering shadows of the candles. In the center of the room sits the table, a long, dark, polished expanse of mahogany that seems to stretch on forever. It could seat 70 people, but tonight it is empty, waiting, silent. Imagine the surface of that table. It is so polished it looks like dark water. On it, the heavy silver candelabras stand like frozen sentinels. If you were to touch the silver, it would be shockingly cold against your skin. Listen, can you hear the faint, ghostly chime of crystal? High above, the chandeliers hang from the ceiling, held by heavy bronze chains. Thousands of individual glass crystals catch the dying light, swaying ever so slightly in a draft you cannot feel. They make a sound like distant ice, a tiny, rhythmic tinkling that only someone as still as you can hear. This room was once filled with the scent of roasted meats and expensive wines, but now it smells of old books and the cold, mineral scent of the marble. The Gilded Age was a time of endless ritual. A dinner here could last for hours, 17 courses served with agonizing slowness, one plate replaced by another, the clink of silver on porcelain, the soft murmur of voices that have long since faded into the stone. As you look at the heavy crimson velvet curtains that drape from the ceiling to the floor, you feel the world outside getting further and further away. There is no time here. There are no deadlines. There is only the steady, hypnotic flickering of the imaginary candlelight against the golden walls. Take another slow, deep breath. The air is thick and comforting. You are safe in the silence of this great house. We are moving deeper into the shadows now, toward the rooms where the music used to play. But now, only the wind from the ocean remains. Stay with us. Let the history wash over you like a slow-moving tide. There is so much more to see, and we are in no hurry at all. Leaving the cold marble of the dining room behind, we drift down a narrow, wood-paneled corridor. The air here feels warmer, heavier, carrying a different kind of silence. We are entering the library, the sanctuary of the house. As you push open the heavy, carved doors, you are greeted by the smell of history itself, a comforting mixture of aged Moroccan leather, old parchment, and the sweet, woody scent of Circassian walnut. Every wall, from floor to high coffered ceiling, is lined with books. Thousands of volumes bound in deep reds, forest greens, and midnight blues, their gold leaf titles catching the faint amber glow of the small lamps scattered around the room. Think about those books for a moment. Most of them have sat in these exact spots for over 100 years. Their pages are thick, slightly yellowed, holding the thoughts of philosophers, poets, and travelers from centuries past. Silent now, yet their presence adds a layer of wisdom and weight to the air. In the center of the room, a massive fireplace of hand-carved stone glows softly. Tonight, the fire has burned down to a pulsing bed of embers. Its deep orange light dances across the thick Persian rug, its intricate patterns seeming to move if you stare long enough. Walk over to one of the oversized leather armchairs. Imagine sitting down. The leather is soft, cool, sighing as it takes your weight. This is the place for long, quiet afternoons, where the only sound is the crackle of a log or the slow, rhythmic turning of a page. Flip, flip. Outside, the wind picks up, brushing the branches of the elm trees against the window panes. Scritch, scratch. A lonely sound, but here, inside the library, you are perfectly safe. The walls are thick, the world is far away, and the history is endless. In the corner stands a globe, made of brass and hand-painted silk. It shows a world that no longer exists, empires that have fallen, borders that have changed. But here, in this room, nothing changes. Time is frozen in the scent of ink, and the dust motes dancing in the amber light. Close your eyes for a moment. The warmth of the library fire fades behind us as we step back into the cool, silent air of the great hall. It is time to ascend. Before you lies the grand staircase. It is a masterpiece of white marble, wide enough for 10 people to walk abreast. Yet tonight, it belongs only to you and the shadows. As you place your hand on the banister, feel the temperature of the stone. It is cold, smooth, polished by the hands of thousands who have passed this way before. Your fingers glide over the intricate wrought iron scrolls that twist like frozen ivy along the railing. Now, take the first step. Step, pause. The sound of your footfall is muffled by the thick crimson runner that flows down the center of the stairs like a river of velvet. Step, pause. With every inch you climb, the ground floor feels further away. The echoes of the great hall below grow faint, replaced by a deep, heavy stillness that hangs in the air of the upper gallery. Halfway up, we reach the landing. Here, a massive stained glass window rises toward the ceiling. In the daylight, it would be a riot of jewels, ruby reds, sapphire blues, and emerald greens. But now, in the moonlight, it is a wall of silver and gray, casting ghostly patterns across your path. Turn your gaze to the walls of the upper gallery. Here hang the portraits of those who built this monument to wealth. Men in stiff collars, women in cascading silk and ropes of pearls. Their eyes, painted with masterful detail, seem to watch you, not with judgment, but with a quiet, timeless curiosity. They are the silent guardians of this house, frozen in an eternal evening. As we reach the top of the stairs, the ceiling feels closer now. The air is thinner, sweeter. We are entering the private world of the mansion, the long, dimly lit corridors where the heavy oak doors lead to bedrooms filled with canopied beds and forgotten dreams. The corridor ahead seems to stretch into infinity. The flickering light of a single wall sconce casts your shadow long and thin against the silk-covered walls. Everything is soft. Everything is muted. Take a deep breath. Can you feel the weight of the stories tucked behind those closed doors? Each room is a capsule of time, holding the silence of 100 years. We are moving slowly, so slowly, toward the master suites, where the sound of the ocean outside becomes a rhythmic lullaby against the stone walls. Stay with me. The night is long, the house is vast, and our journey is only just beginning to settle into the deep quiet of the late hours. The upper corridor is a tunnel of soft shadows and velvet silence. As we walk, the air feels cooler, carrying with it a faint, sharp scent of salt. We are moving toward the east side of the mansion, toward the rooms that face the great, restless Atlantic. We stop before a set of double doors, carved from the darkest mahogany. The handles are heavy brass, worn smooth by generations of hands. With a slow, steady push, the doors give way, opening into the master suite. The room is vast, yet it feels like a cocoon. The walls are upholstered in pale, sky blue silk, decorated with tiny, hand-embroidered silver birds that seem to fly through a permanent twilight. In the center of the room stands the bed. It is a massive four-poster structure, carved from wood so dark it looks like shadows. From its high canopy, layers of heavy cream-colored lace and thick velvet fall to the floor, creating a private sanctuary within a sanctuary. Imagine the weight of the blankets on that bed. Heavy down comforters, silk sheets that feel like cool water, and pillows filled with the softest feathers. It is a bed designed for a sleep that lasts 100 years. To the left, there is a large bay window. Walk toward it slowly. The heavy drapes have been pulled back just enough to reveal the world outside. The moon is high now, and its light creates a shimmering silver path across the dark waves of the ocean. Listen. The sound of the waves is different here. Through the thick stone walls and the heavy glass, the roar of the Atlantic is transformed into a low, rhythmic hum, rising and falling. It is the heartbeat of the world. It is the same sound that the residents of this room heard in 1895, a constant, unchanging lullaby. On the nightstand, a small clock sits under a glass dome. Its pendulum moves with a tiny silver click. Tick, tick. It is the only thing in this room that cares about time. But even the clock seems to be slowing down, getting tired, drifting away. As you stand here, enveloped in the scent of dried roses and salt air, the heaviness in your limbs begins to grow. The ceiling, painted with soft clouds and golden stars, seems to dip closer. The shadows in the corners of the room are soft, like black swan feathers. There is no need to move. There is no need to think. Here, high above the cliffs of Newport, you are protected by layers of stone, silk, and history. Rest your gaze on the silver path over the ocean. Let your mind drift out with the tide, slow, steady, endless. Stay with me. We will linger here in the moonlight for a while longer before we explore the silent, sun-bleached morning rooms that wait at the end of the hall. We leave the silver moonlight of the master suite and drift further down the gallery. The air becomes slightly warmer here as we enter the south wing. We find ourselves at the door of the morning room, a space designed not for sleep, but for the quiet contemplation of a new day. As you enter, the atmosphere shifts from the deep blues of the night to a soft, hazy gold. Even now, in the stillness of our journey, the room seems to hold on to the memory of 1,000 sunrises. The walls are adorned with delicate French boiserie, hand-carved wooden panels painted in shades of cream and pale celadon. Gold leaf tracing every curve of the woodwork, glowing softly like dying embers. Walk toward the center of the room. Here, the furniture is lighter, more delicate. Chairs with thin, gilded legs and upholstery of fine petit point needlepoint.
If you were to run your fingers over the fabric, you would feel the tiny rhythmic bumps of millions of hand-sewn stitches, a testament to the slow, patient labor of the past. Look toward the tall, arched windows. The light here is different. It is thick, heavy, and filled with millions of tiny dust motes. Watch them for a moment. They dance in the air, swirling in slow, invisible currents, rising and falling in no particular hurry. They are the tiny ghosts of the house, moving through the light as if time itself has become liquid. On a small, marble-topped table sits a delicate porcelain tea set. The cups are as thin as eggshells, translucent and fragile. There is no steam rising from them now, only the cold, still beauty of objects that have outlived their owners. Can you hear it? The faint, rhythmic ticking of a small French mantel clock. It is made of ormolu gold and topped with a silent, dancing nymph. Tick-tock, tick-tock. It is a lighter sound than the heavy pendulums downstairs. It feels like a heartbeat, steady and comforting, reminding you that in this room, you are safe from the rush of the modern world. Everything here is soft. The edges of the shadows are blurred. The scent of the room is like old lace and dried jasmine, a fragrance that feels like a memory you can't quite grasp. As you stand in the center of this golden room, feel the tension leaving your shoulders. Your breath is deep and even. Your eyes are heavy. The world outside is a distant thought, a flickering dream that has no place in this hall of silence. We will stay here for a while, bathed in this unchanging golden haze, before we descend to the hidden parts of the house, the places where the silent machinery of the Gilded Age kept the world turning. Stay with me. Let the golden dust motes guide your thoughts into the deep, quiet spaces of the mind. We leave the golden haze of the morning room behind. We step through a small, unassuming door hidden in the paneling, a secret portal that leads away from the marble and silk. We are now descending the back stairs, the narrow stone steps used by those who kept this great machine running in silence. The air here is different. It is cooler, crisper, and carries the faint, clean scent of starch, iron, and cold stone. The walls are no longer covered in silk. They are plain, whitewashed brick, reflecting a soft, dim light that feels like early dawn. At the bottom of the stairs, we enter the servants' hall. Look up at the wall near the ceiling. There, in a long, orderly row, sit the bells. Dozens of small brass bells hanging from coiled springs. Each one is labeled in neat, hand-painted script. The library, the dining room, the master suite. In the past, these bells would have danced and jingled, calling for service, but now they are perfectly still. They hang there in a row of silent bronze, their springs unmoving, their tongues long since quieted. Look at them until they seem to blur, a line of metallic shapes in the shadows. Walk further into the long stone-floored corridor. Each step you take creates a low, dull thud that the heavy walls immediately swallow. Thud, thud. To your right is the silver room. Behind thick steel doors, the family's treasures were once polished for hours. Imagine the rhythmic motion of a hand moving a soft cloth over a silver tray, back and forth, a repetitive, hypnotic motion that lasted for lifetimes. Further down is the kitchen. It is a vast room of copper and cast iron. The great range is cold now, its black iron doors shut tight, but the room still holds the spirit of order. Hundreds of copper pots hang from the ceiling, arranged by size, from the largest basins to the smallest ladles. They catch the dim light, glowing with a deep, dull orange, like a row of fallen moons. There is a profound peace in this part of the house. It is the peace of work finished, the peace of a long day that has finally come to an end. There are no grand speeches here, no glittering parties, only the memory of steady, quiet movements. Can you feel the coolness of the stone floor beneath your feet? Can you feel the absolute stillness of the air? It is as if the house itself has tucked its hands into its pockets and decided to rest. Take a long, slow breath. The order and symmetry of this place act as a balm for the mind. Everything has its place. Everything is silent. Everything is at rest. Stay with me. We are going to move through the service tunnels now, out toward the gardens, where the grass is wet with dew and the statues wait for the morning that never quite arrives.
The heavy stone door at the end of the service corridor creaks open, and we step out into the night air. The transition is seamless. The scent of old stone and starch is replaced by the fragrance of damp earth, crushed mint, and the heavy, sweet perfume of night-blooming jasmine. We are in the sunken garden. Before you, a set of wide stone steps leads down into a circular hollow. The grass here is perfectly manicured, feeling like thick, wet velvet underfoot. The dew has settled over everything, reflecting the starlight like millions of tiny diamonds scattered across the lawn. Walk slowly toward the center. In the middle of the garden, there is a fountain. It is made of weathered limestone, carved into the shape of a giant seashell. The water isn't gushing, it is merely trickling, a slow, rhythmic drip, drop, drop, that creates tiny, expanding circles on the surface of the dark pool. Focus on those circles. Watch them as they spread toward the mossy edges, getting wider and wider until they disappear into the stillness. Surrounding the garden are the statues, marble figures of ancient gods and goddesses, their white forms glowing ghostly against the dark green of the manicured hedges. They stand in absolute silence, their stone eyes gazing toward the horizon. There is a statue of Flora, the goddess of flowers. Her hand is outstretched, as if she is about to drop a petal that never falls. She has stood in this exact position for over a century, watching the seasons change, watching the stars rotate in their slow, celestial dance. Feel the coolness of the night breeze as it brushes past your face. It carries the distant, muffled roar of the Atlantic cliffs, but here, inside the high walls of the garden, the wind is just a whisper. It ruffles the leaves of the boxwood hedges with a soft, shushing sound. Shh, shh. Everything here is in a state of perfect, eternal waiting. The flowers are closed, their colors hidden in the dark. The birds are silent in their nests. Even the shadows of the statues seem to be asleep. Take a deep, slow breath of the cool night air. It fills your lungs with the freshness of the sea and the peace of the earth. Your heart rate slows to match the rhythm of the dripping fountain. You are a part of this garden now, a part of this silent, silver world. As we stand here, surrounded by the marble watchers and the scent of jasmine, the world beyond the gates feels like a fading memory. There is only the grass, the stone, and the endless velvet sky. Stay with me. We are going to walk toward the edge of the cliffs now, where the land meets the infinite dark of the sea. We leave the humid green air of the conservatory and step back into the main house. We are entering the music room, a space where the very walls were designed to hold sound, yet tonight they hold only a deep, golden silence. As you enter, the scale of the luxury here is breathtaking. This room was crafted in Paris and shipped across the ocean, piece by piece. The walls are covered in massive mirrors and panels of gold leaf, designed to reflect the flicker of 1,000 candles. In the moonlight, the gold doesn't shine. It glows with a soft, honey-like warmth. In the corner, near the tall windows, stands the grand piano. It is a masterpiece of dark rosewood and ivory, its surface as smooth and reflective as a dark mountain lake. Imagine walking toward it. The lid is closed, the keys are hidden. But if you were to press your ear against the wood, you might hear the faint, ghostly vibration of a Chopin nocturne played 100 years ago. The music isn't gone. It has simply soaked into the wood and the heavy silk curtains. Around the room stand several harps, their golden strings perfectly still. They look like frozen rain. To look at them is to feel a sense of perfect alignment. No one is here to play them, and that is where the peace lies. The performance is over. The guests have gone home. The music has turned into memory. Look at the ceiling. It is a magnificent painting of the sky, filled with rosy clouds and wandering spirits. It reminds you that even inside this heavy stone mansion, there is a connection to the infinite. The floor here is an intricate parquet of oak and mahogany. As you stand in the center of the room, you feel the immense stillness of the objects around you. The heavy velvet chairs, the marble busts of composers, the crystal sconces, they are all resting. Take a very slow, deep breath. The air here smells of aged wood and old perfume, a scent that is both elegant and heavy. Your mind begins to drift, following the lines of the golden carvings on the wall, up toward the ceiling, and out into the quiet night. There is no need for melody tonight. The silence of the music room is a song in itself, a slow, deep, and endless composition that lulls you further into the shadows of the past. Stay with me. We are moving toward the billiard room now, a place of dark wood, heavy shadows, and the soft click of moving spheres. The light from the music room fades as we pass through a set of heavy, dark curtains. We are now in the billiard room. If the rest of the house feels like a palace, this room feels like a sanctuary of shadow and strength. The walls are lined from floor to ceiling with dark, hand-carved English oak. The wood is so deep in color that it seems to absorb what little moonlight filters through the high, narrow windows. The air here is cooler and smells of old tobacco, expensive leather, and the faint, spicy scent of cedarwood. In the center of the room, under a massive bronze light fixture, stands the billiard table. It is a giant of a thing, carved from solid mahogany with legs as thick as tree trunks. Look at the surface of the table. The green felt is faded to a soft forest hue. It looks like a field of moss, untouched and perfectly still. On the table, 3 ivory balls sit exactly where they were left. They are perfectly round, perfectly smooth, and in the dim light, they look like small, fallen moons. Imagine the sound of one ball hitting another. Click. A sharp, clean, satisfying sound that echoes off the wood-paneled walls and then disappears into the velvet curtains. Click. And then silence. Along the walls stand the high leather benches where men once sat, watching the game through clouds of cigar smoke. The leather is cracked now, showing the patterns of time. As you lean against the dark wood of the wall, you can feel the solidity of the house. These walls are feet thick. They were built to last forever. They were built to keep the world out. There is a massive fireplace here too, made of gray stone and carved with the family crest. The hearth is cold, the ashes long gone, but the chimney still carries the faint, low whistle of the wind from the cliffs. It's a rhythmic shushing sound. Shh, shh. Everything in this room is heavy. The furniture, the history, the silence. And that heaviness is starting to settle into your own limbs. You feel grounded. You feel anchored to the floor. Your thoughts are no longer racing. They are moving like those ivory balls on the felt, slow, smooth, until they eventually come to a complete stop. Take a deep, slow breath of the cedar-scented air. We are leaving the game behind. We are moving towards the final wing of the house, where the small, private sitting rooms wait, the places where the day was finally whispered to an end. Stay with me. The night is at its deepest point now, and we are almost home. We move away from the heavy oak of the billiard room and transition into a much smaller, more intimate space. This is the private sitting room, often called the blue room, because of the soft powder blue damask that covers every wall and every piece of furniture. If the great hall was built for the world to see, this room was built only for the soul. As you step onto the thick cream-colored rug, your feet seem to sink into a cloud. Every sound is instantly muffled. The air is still and carries a light, comforting scent of vanilla and dried rose petals. It is a room that feels like a permanent hug. Look at the small writing desk in the corner. It is made of satin wood, inlaid with delicate patterns of flowers and vines. On the desk sits a single silver inkwell, long dry, and a stack of heavy cream-colored stationery. This was a place for writing letters to distant friends, long, slow letters written by candlelight, where the only hurry was the melting of the wax. In front of the fireplace, there is a chaise longue draped in a heavy mohair throw. Imagine lying back against the soft cushions. The fabric is cool against your skin, but the weight of the throw is warm and grounding. From this position, you can look out of the tall, slender window. Outside, a light mist has begun to roll in from the Atlantic. It moves across the lawn like a silent velvet fog, swallowing the trees and the statues one by one. The world is disappearing into a soft gray haze. There is no more horizon. There is no more distance. There is only this room, this chair, and this moment. The small clock on the mantel doesn't tick. It hums, a low, golden vibration that you feel more than you hear. It is a frequency of pure peace. Take a deep, effortless breath. Your body feels light, yet deeply anchored. The blue walls around you seem to expand and contract with your breath, like the room itself is dreaming. Everything you have seen tonight, the marble, the gold, the ocean, the gardens, it has all led you here, to this small pocket of absolute quiet. The stories of the past are no longer loud. They are just a soft murmur, like the sound of a distant stream. Stay with me. We are going to drift toward the upper balconies now, to take one last look at the mist before we find the final resting place of the night.
We leave the stars behind and descend, one last time, through the silent layers of the house. We pass the attic, the gallery of clocks, the blue sitting room, and the grand staircase. Everything is now behind us. We find ourselves back at the very heart of the mansion, in a room that feels more like a memory than a place. It is a room of pure, soft darkness. There are no mirrors here to reflect the light, no clocks to mark the time. There is only a silence so deep it feels like a soft, heavy blanket. Imagine yourself lying down now. The surface beneath you is impossibly soft, supporting every muscle, every bone. Your head sinks into a pillow that feels like a cool, white cloud. Take a deep, final breath, in and out. Feel the weight of your body. Your feet are heavy and warm. Your hands are still. Your shoulders have finally let go of the world. The Gilded Age, the marble halls, the crashing ocean, the golden dust motes, they are all fading now. They are turning into a soft gray mist that carries you away. The stories are finished. The doors are all locked. The candles have all gone out. The house is sleeping. The ocean is sleeping. And now it is your turn. Listen to the very last sound, the slow, rhythmic beat of your own heart. It is the only clock that matters now. Thump, 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 thump. You are drifting. You are floating. You are safe. The silence is yours. The night is yours. Sleep now. Sleep. Sleep.